Hello and howdy everyone. Here to talk about the newest film from Danny Boyle, Trance. I thought it was okay. I'm going to give it a 6. I'm a big fan of Danny Boyle's. I think he's one of probably the most consistent and best filmmakers working today. I've been with him since the beginning, actually. I can, distinctly remember, like, picking up the box and reading the box and then renting Shallow Grave. I was, very impressed. I think it, mentioned something about having to do with Pulp Fiction, or the box said, the tagline was like, delicious slice of Pulp Fiction, and I was, obsessed with Pulp Fiction at the time. And so I feel that I've been with Danny Boyle since the beginning. I've seen most of his work in the theater, and yeah, so I always feel that I should see his works, and usually they're excellent. I usually tend to love Danny Boyle's films. I love Slumdog Millionaire. I absolutely loved 127 Hours. Right? That was the name? Yeah. I think that may be his best work. But yet I love, all of his stuff. I love his zombie movies, Train Spotting, Millions, even when he wants to make a kids movie. It's pretty damn good. I didn't love this film. I thought it was interesting. It's definitely a Danny Boyle film. It looks like a Danny Boyle film. It's gorgeous to look at. It's neon, just what what's that like horror movie in space he did, Eclipse or something, where, like, anyway, that visually, I was reminded a lot of his other work. That movie in space, God, I can't remember what the name of it was. Maybe Eclipse or something like that. Also, one of his lesser works, that movie. There's anything you come to associate visually with Danny Boyle, that's definitely here. That kind of blurry double focus. It also works well with the theme of the film here. Like, you see, just ever so subtly, two images of the same thing. And that's commonly used by him. That's used a lot here, especially when focusing on Rosario Dawson's character. All of the acting, speaking of Rosario Dawson, all the acting is good. There's basically 3 main characters here, and we've got Miss Rosario Dawson. She's, in a way, kind of the main character, and these 2 other men kind of circle around here. One is, gosh, I can't remember his name right now. James McAvoy. Yes, our new Charles Xavier. James McAvoy and the great Vincent Castle. Vincent Castle's always excellent. He just has a face for film, really. McAvoy, again, young, talented actors. All of the acting is good. They, at least do their best to honor their scene. I think the failing here is just there's just tones all over the place. It's just a mixed bag. It's just a mixed bag. I enjoyed it, but I also kind of found it to be tedious, a little boring. I thought that it kind of made giant leaps, in logic sometimes. Sometimes I was just confused. Again, it's kind of, movie's about, I guess I haven't mentioned that yet, movie's about an art heist. James McAvoy is a art dealer. Now he is. He's an art dealer, and he's in on this plot to steal a painting. but something goes wrong. He loses his memory, and he cannot, remember where he put the painting. So they use the criminals. He's pretty much a victim here, we think. And they use a hypnotherapist, played by Rosario Dawson, to, unlock his mind and to unearth the memory of where this painting is. And so we're never quite sure of, are we in reality? Are we in a dream? What's exactly going on here? And the movie sometimes, becomes a little confusing. Kind of implodes, slightly. I pretty much started not to care. I didn't care much, just because, well, it never really. I don't know. It never seemed to give us the inner workings of any of the characters, except for maybe Rosario Dawson. And then kind of at the end, it makes us. That's kind of like the climax. Instead of being like this action-packed, climax, this climax kind of delivers character. We learn who everyone is at the end of the film, and what they're all about. So, I guess you kind of care at the end, but up until that point, it's just like, okay. I just found myself, appreciating the visual style, the cinematography, the acting. I never felt very involved in the story. I didn't, care too much. It is, interesting. Let's see. I guess looking at the box, I'll read some of the names to you. Let's see. Screenplay by Joe Aharney and John Hodge. That John Hodge sounds familiar for some reason. I don't know if I'm mixing it with another name. Directed by Danny Boyle. I think the real star of the show here is Rosario Dawson. I think she's excellent. She's kind of, definitely the most memorable thing about it. God bless her, she does full frontal nudity. I was not expecting that whatsoever, but I don't even know if she's done nudity before. But Rosario Dawson is, naked as the day she was born in this movie a couple times, and that's pretty awesome. So God bless her for that. That's always brave. She's just great in this. I think this can open some more doors for her. I think of her primarily as like a supporting actress, beautiful, obviously, but a supporting actress nonetheless. So I think this should open up more doors for her. She's just magnetic. She's definitely the highlight of the film, where McAvoy just, is kind of just uneven the whole time. He doesn't know, who he is. Again, I think the actors honor the story. It's just that the story is just all over the place. The movie is all over the place. In terms of emotion, in terms of logic, in terms of action. It's just up and it's down. It's just all over the place. It's a mixed bag. I stuck with it to the end. It was interesting enough, I kept wondering. It was like, well, I just wanted to see what the answer was. It's kind of a puzzle, it's kind of shades of Inception, and I just wanted to know the answer, and I eventually got the answer, and I was like, well, okay, I'll take that. But it's just like, well, all right, okay. There just didn't seem to be this, wow. There was never any kind of moment of awe or just like revelation. It just was like, okay, I get it. Because I just didn't, care too much. I didn't care. I think that's pretty much all I've got to say. I can't think of much else. There's, this Again, McAvoy is an art dealer, art trader. I'm not sure which, auctioneer. So you get to see a little bit of, just a little bit of how like the art world works. I kind of wanted more of that. I always like getting a glimpse at a world that I will not get to experience myself. And I think that, you know, selling $30 million paintings is something I won't get to experience. So I could have used maybe a little bit more of that. But you do get to see a lot of gorgeous art and an insight, you know, somewhat into the art world. So that's interesting. The soundtrack is constant. At some points I found it to be a little bit distracting, but you know, that's kind of Danny Boyle. It's very electronica. I almost want to call it house music. You know, it's just kind of constant and throbbing, you know, and in some ways distracting. I guess it does fit the story. You know, it fits in with that neon landscape that Danny Boyle paints. So even though it's not my favorite score, it definitely fit with the theme, and sometimes I found that it got a little bit annoying, a little bit distracting. But definitely a unique soundtrack, to say the least. Cinematography is beautiful. I think I mentioned that. You know, Danny Boyle, you know, gets that job done. Who did the cinematography? Anthony Dodd Mantle. Interesting. So yeah, I think I've pretty much said all I have to say about that. Again, an interesting work from one of our better filmmakers on the planet. So I think that it's always, you know, Danny Boyle's work is always worthy of being checked out. So there you go. I think I'm pretty much done with that. There's Trance, the new one from Danny Boyle. I give it a solid 6. Thanks much.